Alright, hey everybody, A for Awesome here. This is this is old footage. I'm actually just playing. It's kind of weird. I'm doing a new editing technique, but not the point. This is a video that I've been intending to make for a really long time. I think I said I was gonna do it for 200 subscribers, or like when I reached 200 subscribers, and then I basically got into the technicalities of it and realized I couldn't really do that. I mean, still go ahead and subscribe, not to like self-promote, but like once I hit 250, I'm gonna have a public PayPal link for donations, and I think I'm gonna start a. Let me think, because I've got Twitter, I've got Instagram, I've got Instagram Threads, I've got Discord. I was debating on if I was going to do. I'm gonna do a. I'm gonna make a blogger account. That's what I was going to do, which doesn't sound too crazy, but basically it would be a blog discussing just general life stuff, a lot of updates, a lot of just completely unfiltered, everything. But that's not the point. This video is kind of a serious video, so I need to stop like going into the crazy discussions. But basically, a long time ago, well, we're at the end of 2024 now, so the end of 2023, a couple days before New Year's Eve, I moved into an apartment with, it was me, it was my fiance, and then another couple, and they were really cool people. We weren't technically supposed to move in until like January 2nd, but they kind of let us in early. Things were really good. We got along with them. They were our type. I actually ended up doing a couple of live streams and videos with them. If you go back in my channel logs, in my archive, there's I did some like discussion movie reviews and such featuring him. We did the first. I've got lots of like these Feast of Kings videos, obviously, where I try different foods. They're some of my favorite videos to make actually, but the first Feast of Kings featured him and his fiance, and like we were really good. We were kind of like discussing trying to kind of set up like the apartment as like a content creation house essentially. But that didn't work out just due to a lot of creative differences and all of that, which I never really got into. But obviously, ever since the end of May, I haven't been in contact with any of them. And so I'm gonna, go into. And I also, obviously, if you go on my SoundCloud, I've released a couple songs where I mention them in verses and shit. But anyway, I'm gonna get into what happened now. So, like I said, me and my fiance moved in at the end of December, and I found out some information. We played games. We all did a stream together on New Year's Eve / New Year's Day, and then the day after that, it was at night on January 2nd. I found out some information from my fiance that I shouldn't have reacted how I did, but I'm not going to get super into it. That's her personal information. If she decides to go into that, she can. But so essentially, there was a big misunderstanding between me and my fiance with the information that she gave me, and it became an argument. And so I remember going to my roommates and being like, "This isn't normal for us. We're going to sort this out." And we did sort it out. We're obviously still together. And going from there, things kind of continued to be normal. Things went pretty decently. I was unemployed at the time. My fiance was full-time, so it kind of worked, but also didn't work, if that makes sense, because, we were single income, and we had just recently adopted our cat. Which, funny enough, when we adopted him, it wasn't just our cat. It was supposed to be all four of us, because it wasn't meant to be a short-term release. We were going to be we were planning, like I said, to like keep that apartment, the four of us. It was going to be a long-term thing. etc. Eventually, the four of us, we were planning to upgrade to a bigger place so that they could fit their kid into another room, which was fine. All of that stuff. We got the cat. I was home full time, so so were the other two people. It was just my fiance who was working full time. So I basically was able to stream all day long every day. I also would watch a lot of TV and would obviously, clean and take care of the cat and do all the cooking and pretty much, yeah, like I did all the admittedly like housewifey type shit, and I didn't mind. I still don't mind. I prefer that to a full time, but I'm looking for work. But anyway, so things were pretty good until there was obviously still tension of like I'm the only one working, but we got along. We worked stuff out. I started to have appointments pretty frequently, which was another reason that I didn't have a job, because I wouldn't have been able to show up, because I would have up to 2 or 3 or 4 appointments a week, which would take up most of my days. I started to really suffer from mental illness, which I always will, but like things got really bad. I started to get some sort of separation anxiety or something. I never really got diagnosed, but essentially, while I would be streaming, I would have panic attacks on stream. I would just all around struggle with very basic things, and it became really bad, and I got to a point where I basically needed to have somebody with me. And, with my roommates at the time parenting their kid, I couldn't rely on them. So I started to bring a good friend of mine over all the time. He's in a couple of my streams. I think he's in most of the Mega Man ones, at least. And so we would play games together and hang out, and that would help my anxiety. But basically my roommate started to complain about having people over all the time, even when I tried to explain what had went on. So now that that's kind of been the case, or was the case I should say, I started to go out more and spend less time streaming, and then tensions kind of started to rise over time just due to the general incompetence that we just noticed of our roommates, where yes, they were parenting, but they were not cleaning up after themselves. They were leaving messes everywhere, to the point where there were cockroaches and such, and it was just general immaturity and irresponsibility. We would regularly give them money for things, let them borrow money, and they wouldn't pay us back, etc., etc. And so things just got to a lot of tension. And I think the biggest issue was, with me anyway, was that I was home all day and my fiance wasn't. And if I didn't have my friend around, or, let's say I don't know, but my one roommate, the one that I would stream the most with, had autism, and so whenever his baby would cry, he would scream, he would lash out, and it's not an excuse at all, and I don't care, because I have autism too. But I once heard him threaten to stab his kid. I heard him hit his wife, hit his kids, because he had multiple. Only one of them full-time lived with us, though. A whole bunch of things, and I did a couple times confront him calmly about it, like, hey, I heard that's not cool. And I know it wasn't really my business, but I was abused as a child, so specifically by my father. We're on good terms now. I don't really speak to my mother, though, but it became a whole thing, so I wouldn't want anybody to go through that, so I just was kind of like, hey, I actually think I spoke to his wife specifically and was like, just so you know, I don't know if you're aware that he's done this when you're not around, because he would specifically do it when she was out somewhere. So she said she'd look into it, but tensions got higher and higher from that. There was a time where he was out in the living room on his laptop, because for some reason our Wi-Fi was really shit. So I don't really know why that was. We tried to look into it together, but so we'd have to use our computers in the living room, or we couldn't use them. So he was out in the living room on his laptop. I came out to get a drink. It was like 3, 4 in the morning. Everyone else was asleep. My fiance was asleep. Like, it was just me. I had been up. I think I was up playing Battlefront 2. I was working on that really long video I posted. That was like the 6.5 hour one. I actually really did do a long play of that, because I genuinely sat there and completed it all in one sitting, and then just edited the clips together, because they were separate clips from like bathroom breaks and stuff. Just to show you how little I had going on. And well, like another example of how little I had going on was I was able to watch the entire Pokemon anime, the entirety of all Dragon Ball, like Z, Hero, Superhero, everything, as well as I was able to watch the entirety of The Simpsons, all like back to back, each of them. So I had too much free time. But anyway, all of Ben 10 too. So much. But anyway, I walked out and he had Lolly on his computer. I'm not going to encourage anyone to Google that if they don't know what it is, but let's just say that it is very illegal in most places, including here in Canada. And it's the kind of thing that would probably raise your wanted level from 0 to 5 in GTA immediately. But essentially, I just kind of walked away and ignored it, pretend I didn't see it, told my partner about it the next morning, but it was disgusting. Another issue they had a lot of the time was they would just straight up leave drugs everywhere. And I don't just mean like cigarettes or pot bags. I mean, like, I remember at one point I think it was not when we first moved in, but closer to the exit was dime bags, needles. We didn't know that they did those sorts of things. So having lived there for so long, only to discover that was definitely jarring. And we ended up speaking to them about that because, like, yeah. And it ended up all culminating in basically around, I want to say, mid-March. We went to them to try and extend the lease because we hadn't found anywhere else to live, and we also didn't really want to be anywhere else. And they said that they were planning to use our room for their kids and that they didn't want us to stay. So we were like, okay. We were humble about it. We accepted that we would leave, and we got our stuff together. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to live together since. It's been since we moved out May 31st, and we haven't lived together since then. In fact, we've barely seen each other, but we have made long distance work, and we have had visits and such occasionally. But so on the day of moving out, May 31st, everything was packed for the most part. We were kind of just getting the last few things we needed, as well as getting contact with people for rides. And we noticed one of our plates was missing, or at least my partner noticed the plate was missing, and went to Andrew to ask, and he yelled at her and told her to know her place and said a bunch of sexist and aggressive threats towards her. So I came out of the room and said, excuse me, like, why are you speaking to her like that when she asked you a very simple question? And he got up in my face, and it all kind of just culminated in I never ended up laying a hand on him, thankfully for him, but it culminated in a yelling match, and his girlfriend coming out being like, don't yell in front of the baby. So I said, okay, I respect that you don't want us to yell in front of your kid, because I understand that's traumatizing. Let's go outside, like to him, like, let's go step outside. She takes her phone out and is like, I'm calling the cops, you're threatening him. So I looked at her and said, oh, I've taken pictures and videos and audio recordings of all the stuff your husband's done to your kids. If you call the cops on me for quote-unquote threatening him, I will immediately set it to FNCS, which is, for those not in Canada, it's like, Child Protective Services or whatever. which they were already being investigated by. So they dropped it immediately, and I called up my dad, and we figured all that stuff out. And I'm living where I am now, and I haven't talked to them, but I don't know if they actually gave the room to their kids, if they just wanted us out, or any of that. But I figured I've wanted to, and I've needed to get this off of my chest for a long time, because I haven't really had anyone to talk to about it, and I wanted to make it clear what happened. So I really appreciate you guys listening. I got some other news recently that I'm probably going to make another update video like this eventually for, but that won't be till it's kind of confirmed. But I will definitely, this is my call out post on Punk Turtle, and yeah. Bye.